it's like, man, when you hear that quote, and in its simplicity is yet profound, when you hear the quote that say, it's never about what happens to you, it's about how you respond to it. And people treat it like it's cliche. Cool, but it's so true, right? Same quote that says, play the hand you dealt like it's the one you always wanted. And so it's always gonna be conditions, situations, and circumstances there for you to point to. Like I said, it might be valid, but you dictate what you do with that.
Anquin Barnes, what other reason to come to playing for Coach Prime?
Committed. He committed.
Anquin Barnes Jr. was born on October 21st, 2002, in Montgomery, Alabama. Barnes attended Lee High School, the class of 2021, and was part of the AB Honor Roll. His love for football started at the age of 5. He also ran track and played basketball, averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds. On January 16, 2020, Chad Simmons, a former recruiting analyst for Rivals Yahoo Sports and current director of recruiting for On3, sent out a tweet that said the following: Anquin Barnes is an athletic lineman that we found his freshman year at the Rivals Combine in Mobile, Alabama. He earned an invite to the camp from that performance, and his recruitment has taken off. The Gators and UGA offered last week Vols in Pursuit 2. Anquin Barnes received close to 20 college scholarship offers, the bulk of which came prior to his senior year of high school. On March 30th, 2020, Anquin Barnes announced his top 6 schools, which included Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, Nebraska, and Alabama.
All right, breaking news. What's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson along with Andrew Bone. Anquin Barnes has committed to the Crimson Tide, becoming the Crimson Tide's second commit in the class of 2021. I'm here with Andrew Bone to break it all down. Big defensive tackle joins Alabama's class of 2021. Bone, break it down. What does this mean for the Crimson Tide?
Well, what it means is it's finally another commitment. I think Alabama fans have been really anxious and nervous about when another commitment was going to happen for the Crimson Tide. They finally get one on board today in Anquin Barnes. And I made a comment last night on BamaInsider.com on our recruiting board that there were some kids that, even though the Alabama was only sitting on one commitment, there were some kids who have probably informed Alabama of their intentions and were just kind of waiting for the right opportunity. And Anquin Barnes is one of those guys that we knew he was going to pop at some point, probably pretty soon, and he went ahead and did that today. So it's a big commitment because he's a in-state kid. He's a big lineman at 6'5", 300 pounds, extremely athletic. Has played basketball, runs track. I mean, he is a tremendous athlete who I think has really seen his stock kind of explode this spring. I mean, he's got several scholarship offers. One head coach in college football that's not in the SEC is another Pac-12. The Pac-12 program told a coach, one of Anquin Barnes' coaches, that he is the best defensive lineman in the country, in their opinion.
It's Mike Farrell, Rivals.com, here with Nick Saban, national championship coach for Alabama. And Coach, your class is number 1 again on Rivals for 2021. The last time that happened was 2017. Do you see any comparison between this class and that class? And did you know that class was going to be so special?
Well, I don't really put a lot of stock into, no disrespect to any of the recruiting services, but we try to evaluate the players like we would for the NFL draft, back in those days when I was in the NFL, in terms of looking at critical factors and character and things like that, size and speed. So, we like to pick the players that we think are the best fit for us. I thought the 2017 class had a lot of really, really good players. As it panned out, they did. I think we're fortunate to think that this class is going to have a lot of good players too, but I always, try to put the emphasis on, it's not really how the players are ranked and rated now, it's really how they develop, in their career here, which, takes a lot of intangibles, work ethic, discipline, things like that to be able to have the right mindset to try to continue to improve. And that's always the key to the drill for me. We've had some guys that were 3-star players like Josh Jacobs and Quentin Williams, who both were first-round draft picks. So a lot of it is about development and how guys sort of develop, in their career here.
Development obviously has been a big key for your success. Lots of first rounders, lots of national championships. There was an article in the USA Today, I don't know if you saw it, on how to stop Nick Saban's dynasty and reign. And one was limit scholarship numbers. Another was, get him to retire. Do you hear any of this stuff? Like, it's too easy for you now?
It's not easy. It's never easy. And I think, one of the biggest challenges is how do you get people to deal with success? Complacency creates a blatant disregard for doing what's right. To get people to stay hungry, to want to continue to be successful and do the things they need to do, because we have success, we get a lot of people's best game. Everybody's sort of got that game circled, so the players look forward to playing against you and having the opportunity to beat you. So you got to bring your A game every week, and that takes a certain kind of mindset and a certain kind of competitive spirit. And there's no place for complacency or being satisfied in any of those sort of competitive challenges.
They asked Tom Brady when he was going to retire. He said, no time soon. You get that question often, right? Do you have a time frame?
I think my answer would be the same, no time soon. I don't have a time frame. I love doing what I'm doing. I love to be in the position of leadership. I love to be able to impact young people in a positive way and help them be more successful in life. If I didn't think I was contributing to the program in a positive way, then I would consider not doing it.
So pretty big day for Alabama. No surprises, though, really, when you look at sort of where they ended up. And, of course, the number 1 ranking there, 27 commits coming in. Looking at the 24/7 composite rankings, 7 5-stars, 16 4-stars.
Yeah, this class was probably Nick Saban's best in terms of on paper, the grades and the rankings that these players have. And like you said, it was just sort of business as usual for Nick Saban today.
What makes Nick Saban so darn good at this thing, right? Like, it's crazy.
Fulfilling prophecy at this point. I mean, it's just players who are coming because they know what this team has done in the past. And, the results kind of speak for themselves. And it's a train that just keeps on moving with its own power. And, the TV ratings for the college football playoff this year were some of the worst they've had in a while. And there's this sense in some circles around college football that it's too Alabama centric, too Ohio State centric, too Clemson centric, and these other schools don't have a chance. And, if you're an Oklahoma fan, if you're a, Washington State fan, if you're from a different conference that has no shot every year because of these teams at the center of it, you're probably looking at this Alabama class and rolling your eyes and saying, what are we supposed to do? If you're an Alabama fan, you're looking at it and saying it's more hard work from Nick Saban coming to fruition. And it's something that you probably shouldn't take for granted. And obviously the success that Alabama's had, the past 10, 12 years, they didn't really have a ton of success the 10, 12 years before that. So nothing's really guaranteed or for certain. And just because there's a few teams at the top right now doesn't mean that they'll change in the future. And I think that's something important to keep in mind in that debate as well.
Anquin Barnes, 2021 defensive lineman, Robert Elite, 6'5", 289. My strength, power rushing, explosive hands.
In high school, Anquin Barnes was a 4-star recruit and the number 25 defensive tackle nationally, according to ESPN.com. He was rated as the number 29 prospect at his position and 15th ranked player in Alabama by 24/7 Sports. The number 34 defensive tackle and number 18 player in the state on the 24/7 composite, selected to the 2020 Alabama Max Preps All-State team as a defensive lineman. Also earned Prep Star All-Southeast Region honors in his final season at Lee, named to the Alabama Mississippi All-Star Classic roster as a senior. Barnes was coached by Eric Hudson at Lee High School, which is now named Dr. Percy Julian High School. Anquin Barnes finished with 82 tackles across his final 2 seasons at Lee, including 11 for loss and 6 sacks. A two-way player who also started along the offensive line, where he recorded 14 pancake blocks as a senior in 2020. Barnes helped the Generals to an 8-5 record and an Alabama 7A state semifinal appearance in 2018. After graduating from Lee High School, Anquin Barnes, one of Alabama's longest-standing commits, arrived on Alabama's campus in the summer of 2021. Barnes played for Alabama for 3 seasons, redshirting following the conclusion of his true freshman year in 2021. During the 2022 season, Barnes did not see any game action as a redshirt freshman. In 2023, as a sophomore, Barnes played against Middle Tennessee and Chattanooga.
Houston trying to reverse course, but goes back into the heart of the Alabama D. 3rd and 7. Handoff again is to Houston. And that defense stays strong. A loss of 1 on 3rd down.
Yeah. That's where Houston was trying to get the edge, but then there was no edge.
Second unit for Alabama, the defense, they're showing some swagger out there.
No, that was good. Really good job.
It's Portland season. Lots of Portland happening. Alabama, another player has entered the portal. We've talked about Ja'Cory Brooks. We've talked about Isaiah Hastings. And now Anquin Barnes from Robert E. Lee High School in Montgomery has entered the portal. I was kind of high on him when we signed him. It just never materialized. And in this day and age, if you're there a couple of years and you hadn't really made a move, it's probably going to be best to move on. Now, Mac Jones may beg to differ, but I think he was an interesting case. I don't know if this is – I just wish him the best. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know what kind of caliber player he is overall because we hadn't seen enough of him. But do you feel like this is a loss for Alabama, or do you feel like this is something that mutually beneficial?
It's really all of those things that you said, all of it. Alabama needs room. Something that's been lost in this new world a little bit that I think people get confused about, and I'm confused about it at times too, because we're never told all, and we never will be told all, and that's okay. But there's still a rule about how many players you can have on scholarship. That's still a thing. And if you add up all the players that are scheduled to come back and assume that Alabama is going to sign 25 or 3 or 4 from the portal, Alabama is well into the 90s, like way into the 90s, maybe at around 100. And that's like sort of a problem, right? I mean, it's so any kid that enters the portal right now helps in terms of that issue for sure. So there's that. I mean, there's just too many players. Regardless of rules, there's too many players. You can't develop your best players when there's 300 kids on the field practicing. That's just too many. So, in that sense, this is not a loss because Alabama needs the room. Now, one thing I'll not so much disagree with, but state is, look, these linemen, particularly offensive linemen and defensive linemen, it's a developmental position. It's not unusual at all that a player would take 3 years and not be ready to play big-time SEC college football. It would not be surprising if all of a sudden in year 4, Anquin Barnes is ready to go. And if he goes somewhere and does pretty well, we should not be surprised or shocked. He's probably closer to being ready to play now than he ever has been. And someone's going to be the beneficiary of Alabama's coaching. Alabama has coached this kid in the weight room for 3 years. They've coached him on the field for 3 years. He's probably ready to help somebody.